Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Judson Memorial Baptist Church. Everybody is welcome here, regardless of your religious background, your socioeconomic level, your gender identity, your political perspectives, regardless of whether you like pineapple on your pizza or not, and regardless of whether you hang your toilet paper over or under. All are welcome here. We thank you for being here in person. Those of you that are watching online, we welcome you also. Thank you for carving out the time to watch this service. Today is special in a couple of different ways. First of all, it's the summer solstice today. At 3:24 a.m., 3:24 this morning, how many of you got up to celebrate that? Yeah, I didn't either. At 3:24, the tilt of the earth toward the sun was such that it made this the longest day of the year. Of course, it's totally opposite down in Australia. But summer solstice, so that's something to celebrate. Secondly, Travis and Lori are gone today. We're not celebrating that necessarily, but Travis and Lori are celebrating their 29th wedding anniversary today. So wait a minute, I think we can even do more. I think they might watch this online at some point, maybe not this morning, but at some point during the week. So I think on the count of three, we should shout real loud, happy anniversary. Now you have to do it real loud so that the microphone picks it up. So ready? On the count of three, happy anniversary. 1, 2, 3. Happy anniversary! Ooh, that was good. All right. Third, it's Father's Day. Father's Day was created to complement Mother's Day. It was first celebrated in 1910. Father's Day was created by Sonora Dodd to honor her single father. And so she convinced some organizations to start celebrating him. It wasn't until 1966 that President Johnson had a presidential proclamation declaring that Father's Day should always be the third Sunday of June. And then a few years later, in 1972, President Richard Nixon declared Father's Day to be a U.S. national holiday. Kathy Quick sent me some reflections about Father's Day during the week, which I really enjoyed. And I'll just quote from one of them. These are 3 essays. If you want to talk to Kathy or email her later, I'm sure she'd be willing to share these 5 reflections with you. These are from Veronica Joss' Intelligent Change organization. The lines that I especially highlighted are, some of what we carry is a gift. Some of it is a wound. Most of it is both, somehow, at the same time. Happy Father's Day. Jason, call to worship.
Good morning, everyone. All right, I will read the one, and you please boldly read the many. For fathers and others who loved us and love us still. For fathers and others who taught us honesty, faithfulness, and generosity. For fathers and others who taught us how to work and play, sing and pray, laugh and love. We thank you, God. For the others who were with us when fathers were not, could not, or would not. We thank you, God. For the joys of being a father or mother, an uncle or aunt, a mentor, a friend, a neighbor. We thank you, God. For the joys of having or being a grandfather or grandmother. For the joys of having or being a daughter or son, a grandchild, a niece or nephew, a friend. For the many ways we connect in the tapestry of life, for the ways our lives intersect. For you, God, who is described and defined as love.
Please stand if you are able and join us in the opening song, which is in your bulletin. time for fathers and children. So if you're a father and want to come up, or if you're a child, a grown child, or any age child, you can join us, male or female. Some people can come up here and sit up here. We'll do it right from here. Testing, 1, 2, 3, can you hear me? Yes. Yes? No? Yes. All right. Caitlin, you have a ball here. Eli, we were going to demonstrate. Why don't you go right down there? I can do that. Whoa! Okay, turn to somebody else now. All right. Oh, go ahead. You're ready to throw. You're welcome. All right. Good to have all of you here. Eli, you can come back up here and sit down with me. And with Caitlin here. Caitlin, you have a ball. Have you been bouncing it during the week?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Who have you been bouncing it with? Who? Your family members?
Mommy.
All right. That's good. Do you want to bounce it now with anybody?
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, all right, bounce it to somebody else. They'll bounce it back.
What's that? What's that?
Oh, she's gonna go out there with a real thing here.
Cut.
Oh.
Cut.
Oh. Right here. What's that? I don't think. All right, now we have one of our star ball people right here, and we're going to invite him to come up. This is Elfie. And Elfie, hey, he's going to come right here. His father Ian is going to demonstrate rolling a ball to one another. So maybe if you could just spread out. If any of you want to stand up so you can see this, this is good. We need a drum roll for this, I think. Just a minute. Oh, we'll get a real drum roll. We're a class in church here. Just a minute. All right. Oh, he's holding on to it. And he's looking like he's going to throw it. Nope, he's going to hold it. He's teasing his father. Well, he's clutching it. I think he's running for the goal line. I'm not sure. Oh, there goes his father. All right. Thank you very much, Alfie. Good job. Thank you, Ian. All right, well, why are we doing this? Well, one thing we talked about in planning the service is reimagining what masculinity is, what fatherhood is, what it means to be a friend or a mentor or an aunt or an uncle or a grandfather or grandmother to kids or to any people of any age. And so we decided to demonstrate this with balls, and I brought a few extra balls here. Jason, you want us to pass something over? Yeah, I got them all right. Okay. And we need somebody else to pass them out. Everybody can take a ball. In fact, take two, because when you go back, you can hand them or toss them to people in the congregation. Because we want everybody to be able to roll a ball with somebody like Elfie, or bounce a ball with somebody like Caitlin, or throw a ball with somebody like Eli. Because it's a way that fathers and mothers and grandfathers and grandmothers and people of any age can connect with one another, can even connect with friends. Last night, Tom Balcom and I bounced a ball to one another, over at Park Shore. We're friends, we're not related, but it was nice. We were able to connect. So that was great. And so that's your assignment for today, is to kind of take a ball and think about bouncing it and throwing it to one another. Let's see, who else brought a ball today that wants to demonstrate here? Anybody else want to demonstrate a good one? Okay, Jason, I guess you have to go out there once more. We'll do one more. One thing that Carolyn stressed is that one thing that fathers, we talked about what are fathers, what defines a father? So many different things too. But one thing is fathers lots of times will bring a little risk into the play. I don't know, Ian, do you ever toss your son up and down a little bit? Yeah, oh, and that's something you'll see fathers do quite often. Now, Alfie looked like he was pretty comfortable, kind of wondering what was going on. But Ian is introducing a little bit of risk and safety and security and adventure into his life. So that's a great thing. My daughter, Cheryl, who was a third baseman, is pretty good tossing the ball. Toss one to Eli there. Oh, okay. So, that's our lesson for this morning. I don't know, Eli.
You know where you're at, going.
And that's the other thing, recovering from mistakes. That's something that we fathers are good at teaching, and grandfathers are good at teaching, and anybody's good at teaching. So, anybody have any questions? Oh, I was going to ask one other question. What's one thing about your father? And this could be the adults, a couple adults answering, or a couple of kids answering. What's one thing, if I were to ask you, what's one thing about your father? What would you say? Ask that like that when somebody will talk. One thing about your father. Okay, I think tell us about your father.
My father was very kind and always encouraged me to follow my bliss, which I liked that phrase, so
All right.
I appreciated that.
You got something? All right, pass it forward there. See if anybody else has anything. Oh, it's coming up to you.
I have to talk, right? My dad, well, we played a lot of catch growing up, and we also ate a lot of pizza.
I would say when I think of my dad, I think of thoughtfulness.
I'll say my dad's a very caring guy, and I feel like I've really loved getting to know him more as I grow older and older.
Come back to Alfie in future years. All right. And then we end with time with fathers, or time with children, or time with anybody, with a blessing. And the congregation, I say, now receive a blessing from the faith community that loves you. We say, God be with you. Then we say, also with you. Now we got to say this so that Travis and Lori hear us, okay? Okay, so now receive a blessing from the faith community that loves you. God be with you, and also with you.
Everybody, I'm Jason Kepi, and this is my father moment today. I'm going to be playing a song in a sec that I wrote for my dad. My dad's name is Fred Kepi. He died when I was 26, so relatively speaking, I had a good long stretch with him. But I wished there were longer. And I always felt, by and large, really a great, strong, loving connection with my dad. I know he was proud of me. We clashed quite a bit in my late teen, early 20 years. We had really different ideas about religion and politics. And when either or both of us had too much to drink, our communication really, really went downhill quick. And yeah, so like the initial reading, right? Like we all have gifts and wounds, you know, and my kids have gifts and wounds from me. I have gifts and wounds from my dad. But I wish I had a chance to call him up on the phone. And that's what this song is about. The idea was from my best buddy, Eddie Burke. He also lost his dad. He said at one point, one of us should write a song called I Wish I Could Call My Dad. And so that's what this song is called. When my plans fall through, when I trip over your heirlooms, the things I thought I knew, I wish I could call my dad. When my days are blue, or when the sky blue too. Sometimes I feel closest to you, doing things I shouldn't do. I wish I could call my dad. I wish I could call my dad. All those hard-headed battles we fought, neither of us want to be taught. But now I'm tied up in knots. Wish I could call my dad, so I could call my dad. The kids do something new. I feel you peeking through. And in the mirror these days I'm seeing more and more of you. I wish I could call my dad. I wish I could call my dad. I wish I could call my dad. I wish I could call my dad.
My dad is lying on his hospital bed that is set up in our small living room in our small town. He was diagnosed with late-stage melanoma 2 years before, and now the cancer was in his brain. He's 59, and I've just turned 15. There are 6 kids in the family, but I'm the youngest, by a lot. I was an accident, but I was well loved. I'm the only one home with my mom and dad, and I haven't heard my father say a word in over a week. My dad, Orville Tilford Håkon Fredrickson. What a big Norwegian name. That's a mouthful. He was a popular butcher at the fair store. From what I heard, he was the main reason why people shopped at that grocery store. He was the singing butcher. That man worked 60 hours a week, but he was a member of 3 different choirs. The main church choir, the men's church choir called the Gospel Airs, and the town barbershop choir. He was always singing. Over the last couple of years of his life, we had a hard time communicating with each other. He never spoke of deep life lessons with me, but I realized lately that he did share life lessons through his actions. Let me briefly share 5 life lessons from my father, the singing butcher. Number 1, face your fears. I know it doesn't seem like it today, but I was a very shy, socially anxious kid. It was in an example of this, it was in Mrs. Tatchy's 6th grade social studies class. She told me it was my turn to read to the class. I could just read from my desk. I didn't have to get in front of the class. I read a few lines and fainted while sitting down. My dad heard about this and promptly signed me up to read the 2nd lesson at our church on Sunday. Was my dad, the singing butcher, a closeted sadist? At church on Sunday, I'm a wreck. It's a big Lutheran church. I get up and I manage to get through the reading and sit back down. No fainting, no stumbling. After that, I started being more involved in speaking in public and even acting in schools. It seems the singing butcher was also a cognitive behavioral therapist, specializing in exposure therapy. I learned later, when I found one of his school yearbooks, that he was very shy growing up. He knew what would help me because it's what helped him. Number 2, prioritize faith and family. Dad was heavily involved in the church. Along with singing in the choir, he was also one of the confirmation class Sunday school teachers. And family was always important to him. Besides our large family, we had an extended family in town and surrounding areas where we would get together regularly. And he included others as family. When my older sister Linda came out to my mom and dad in the late 70s, a very different era to do such a thing. My dad was loving and accepting. Family is what mattered. My sister's partner Dee Dee loved my dad. He was the father she wished she had. The singing butcher fathered her well, treating her like a daughter. Number 3, develop good habits and rituals. Before we ate supper in the evening, and yes, it was called supper, we read out the little Lutheran devotional booklet. There was a verse in the Bible to read, then a short devotion, and then a prayer. One evening, my cool friend Bart came over to stay for dinner. We're 13 years old. In my head, I'm saying, please, can we not do the devotional tonight? But my dad brings it out, and it's my turn to read. Later that evening, I'm expecting a really good ribbing from Bart, but instead he says he thinks it's pretty cool that that's something we do every night. My dad loved his rituals and habits. Every morning in his room, he would do his calisthenics before work. I don't think he knew, but I noticed. Number 4, be kind to everyone. Dad was known for his niceness. That's one of the reasons people enjoyed shopping in the store. I can never remember him judge anyone. And at his funeral, that was the main thing I heard from the adults in the community. And number 5, good relationships matter. Now you know I was going to bring in a psychological study, and I'll do that right now. The Harvard study of adult development is the longest running longitudinal study of its kind, 88 years. Over the decades, researchers have collected detailed data from brain scans and blood work to in-depth interviews, and have expanded the research to include the participants' spouses and children. All of this data, and what's the primary finding? The good life is one that is filled with good relationships, period. We are social beings, after all. My father understood that. He packed his life with good relationships, from family to workmates to churchmates to choirmates. So back in that living room where my father is lying, I'd say sorry, but I know I can be emotional at a church like this, even a Scandinavian can be. I'm not even sure he knows anything is going on around him. Suddenly the doorbell rings. My mom opens the door, and over 30 men pack themselves in our tiny living room. They all start singing to my father. My dad's bed starts shaking. He's crying. The singing butcher has lived a good, honest life, one that was cut far too short.
Ooh. When Wayne asked us to do this, I didn't realize I was going to be following that song and that memory of your dad, Joel. Our reading today is from Luke 15, 11 through 32, that is commonly known as the parable of the prodigal son. And for those old-timers here at Judson, you may be like me. I cannot hear that story without thinking about Randy Baker's rock opera that he and others produced and performed here at Judson so many years ago. That's all I can think about. Well, this is a re-envisioned Father's Day. So we kind of felt like it was appropriate for us to re-envision how we deliver scripture to you. Today, we're going to be using as a base the Luke story from the First Nations version of the New Testament. But we've asked Walton Stanley, for those of you who don't know, who is my husband. I do have one. And he is a father, and he's also a really incredible storyteller. So we've asked him to retell this story to you. And I invite you to, as they say on the plane, to sit back, relax, listen to this story anew, maybe through the centering of the prodigal son's dad.
So, it seems there was a father who had 2 sons. Now, this father was a man of means. He had an estate, he had land, he had cattle, he had servants. They were a privileged family, if you will. One day, his younger son came up to him and he said, "Father, I have a proposition. Here's what I'd like. I'd like you to give me my share of the inheritance that you would have intended to leave me after you passed. I'd like you to give me my inheritance now. I want to go out and make my way in the world." And that might have been a slightly rude request, but the father agreed. He gave his son his inheritance, what he'd intended to leave him after he passed. And that younger son, he got out of that town. He went to a foreign country. He went to experience the high life. He fell in with some wild companions. He started spending money like crazy. It was wine, women, song. And as you can imagine, that money flowed away from him like water out of a river. And soon, he was broke. And so he did that terrible thing that many of us have had to do. He looked for a job. But given his somewhat limited skill set, the only job he could find was as a farmhand working for a swineherd, feeding the pigs. Now, it happened that in that country where he was living, there was a great economic collapse and a famine, and times were really hard, and an assistant pig herd farmhand did not make much money, and the swineherd was not a particularly generous man. And that young man, that younger son, began to lose a lot of weight because he couldn't eat very much, couldn't afford to buy food. His clothes became ragged, his shoes wore out, he went around barefoot. He began to envy the pigs because of the slop he was giving them was better than what he was getting. And after a time, he said, "What am I doing? My father's poorest servant lives better than I do." And so he decided that he would go back home. And he practiced what he would say to his father. And he decided that what he would say is this. He would say, "Father, I am a disgrace. I have shamed our family. I am not worthy to be called your son, and that's not what I'm asking. I only ask that you give me a position as a servant here working for you." And so he set off on that long road home. Now eventually, he came up the road toward his father's estate. He was still a long way off, but his father spotted him. His father knew his son from a far distance. And the father ran to him, and he saw him in his rags, and he was skinny, and he had no shoes. And his father threw his arms around him. And the son began to mumble out, "Father, I have disgraced us. I'm not worthy to be called your son, but all I ask is that you hire me as a servant." And the father called his servants and he said, "Bring a robe, a fine robe for my son, and get him some shoes for goodness sake, and kill the best calf. We're having a feast. My son has returned, and get him a nice ring for his finger." And all that was done. The son was taken into the house, and he was cleaned up and clothed, and they killed the fatted calf, as they say, and they had a great feast, and there was music and celebration. And the story might end there. But you see, the elder son, the older brother, had been out working in the fields all day, and he came home around this time. And he heard the music and the celebration, and he could smell the food cooking. And he asked one of the servants, "What's going on?" And the servant said, "Oh, your brother came home, and your father had the fatted calf killed, and we're having a great feast in his honor." And at this, the older brother became angry, and he began to sulk, and he wouldn't go in to the feast. And so the father came out to him. And the older brother said to the father, "How can you do that? I have worked for you tirelessly, day in and day out, all these years. My brother is a waster. He was living a dissolute life in some foreign country, and you kill the fatted calf, you throw a great feast for him. You never given me even one scrawny goat to have a party with my friends." And the father threw his arms around that son. And he said, "My son, all I have is yours. My love for my sons is not conditional. It doesn't have to be earned. Your younger brother was lost to us. For all we knew, he was dead, and he has returned. And that is why we are having a feast." And that is the story of the prodigal son.
I'm identified as having a father's moment, or giving one, or experiencing one with you at this point. Okay, well, anything I've said so far was completely inconsequential. So we, and by we I mean Eli's band, Eli and the Prodigals, are going to play a song called My Monster, which is about my grandpa. But before we descend into the bowels of my family's history of toxic masculinity, I'd like to explain why I'm talking to you about this on Father's Day. I'm uneasy about this, as I told Nikki and Sticks Simpson here yesterday. I think it could come off as kind of virtue signaling or mansplaining maybe a little bit, but what I think I've learned contemplating 4 generations of Elliott men is to be grateful for the agency, the power of choice that we have as sons to accept what is good and reject what is bad from our fathers. And I think Jason was alluding to some of that. As a father, I'm grateful that my kids express that same agency, the same power, rejecting my instructions about how they should live their lives in those rare moments when I'm wrong. And the truth is, my sons have taken very, very poorly to the bit of my paternal authority. I have one son who has been calling me Bruce since 4th grade, like I'm another kid on the playground, you know. And my other son seems to make up his mind about everything based on his own counsel. But what I'm telling you is I have come to see their independence, their discerning consideration of what I might tell them as virtue. But back to the song we're about to do. My monster. My grandfather was a monster, at least partially. My dad was not. Somehow, my dad rose from the ash of a really difficult childhood, rejecting in his life so much of what my grandpa was, while embodying my grandpa's fierce drive, his raw lust for life. To pick a trivial but actual example of this, my dad transformed in a loving way his father's really strict physical military discipline. So we were asked to meet my dad when he came home from work, and he would review us. We'd stand there and he'd tell us to stand straighter, pull our shoulders back, suck in our guts, look him in the eye, show him that your nails were clean, your hair was brushed, and then he'd tell you, put it in the vise, which was just shaking hands. That is something that he wanted to do. And the final part of the review, which was always my favorite, he'd ask you to hit him in the stomach as hard as you could, after which he would feign injury or dismiss your efforts as utterly inconsequential, depending on his mood, I guess. He loved to wrestle with this, and my brother, and sometimes both of us together. I don't recall hugging my dad a lot, but there was a whole lot of nonverbal physical affection of the sort that you see between adult male gorillas and their offspring. And I guess I'm just amazed by how my father was able to turn away from so much of what my grandpa was, and amazed as well how vividly he kept and transformed the many things that were great about my grandfather. And I am grateful that my children seem to have that same ability to sort wheat from my abundant chaff. It is astounding and kind of bittersweet to me that how much my kids are like my father. A guy they never met. So anyway, let's get on with the show, boys. band is pretty new. We don't have the roadie situation. Like every other band I've ever been in. Yeah, you're the band. So, nice. I tell my boys his family's got a Texas side, where tall tales share a pew with outright lies. We part Cherokee like Grandma said, where we're standing with Jim Boy when he died. My grandpa had a mountainous charisma. Skip Sunday dinner to watch the bees he kept. We'd wander down the river in the deep still woods. He held my hand, my heart is better said. He was a perfect elixir in a child's eyes. Passion and conviction, strength, pride. No antidote, no prescription for how I loved him. No cure for the affliction that beat inside. Grandpa went to school to be an engineer. He graduated with honors, he would say. His compass was the crack of his old mule's ass. Class convened on the dusty Texas plains. Went to war and fought in 1917. Built bomber planes for Ford in World War II. Abused his eldest daughter along the way. Made her sleep out in the barn in 52. Yeah, he was an ugly contradiction. He was born in blood. He was a creator, a destroyer. God of war. In his coils and constrictions lived a southern charm. Lying strangled and twisted in his dark hour. Grandpa was a complex mixture, but the family verdict, he was just an awful man. In my imagination, he says, well, I can't disagree, but I love you, boy, he's right quick to add. He was a perfect elixir, an ugly contradiction. Cure for the affliction, for the damage he done. But I find myself enlisted in a
just love the people of this congregation, all of the talent and wisdom, and thank you, everybody. We're going to do the Father's Day prayer now. I will read the one, and if everyone can read the all. Today is Father's Day, so we take this moment to hold space for all that may mean to us. May we be grateful for the nurturing we have received in our lives from sources both hidden and obvious. May we nurture each other and the generations to come. May we heal from the losses highlighted by Father's Day. May the friendship and love we have in our lives today ease the pain and amplify the positive memories of our past. Human relations are complicated. These days of recognition are complex. Please take a moment to breathe in what serves you and breathe out that which does not. May this day be for you what you hope it to be. Amen. And now I'm going to invite you to find the slips of paper and pens in your pews and very clearly and legibly write down a hope, a wish, a blessing, an intention, and those that you would like to be shared aloud in community, you can place in the large wooden bowl. And those that you would like to be left unspoken, you can place in the smaller singing bowl.
Today's service has been a flood of memories for Judson fathers, past and present.
I pray for the strength and knowledge for all men, cis or not, to break any chains that must be broken, and for love to keep the chains that are necessary.
Hey dads, happy Father's Day. Oh, and by the way, let's all be really cool and go to DC to fix the green pool.
Thank you for my father who was patient with us, even though he said he wasn't very patient. He was kind to us and taught us about God.
Please say a prayer for Lori. She's Iverson, Judson member in the past. She's not doing well. We love her. Please take care of her husband Jim, and family with love.
I am so grateful for all the raw talent, creativity, and authenticity in this congregation.
With gratitude for my dad, Robert C. Waterhouse.
Okay. Be the kind of father that mothers too. Yeah.
Thank you, Bruce, Scott, Joel, Jason, and all who made this Father's Day so meaningful.
My blessed Lord, still in my heart for all your unconditional love.
Prayers for all the fathers for their guiding faith and love to their children.
Grateful that my father set so many good examples and so few bad ones.
Prayers for Kristen Gustafson and her wife Jean and daughter Davis.
Please sing like you like me from Toy Story. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you to the men of this congregation for today's service. As the daughter of a complex man, this is a balm.
Pray for continued healing and strength for Don Martin, who had open heart surgery a few weeks ago.
Remembering Vaughn Johnson Weatherhead, yesterday would have been her 71st birthday. She passed away 20 months ago. She sang in the Judson Choir and taught Judson kids for 2 years. She was married to Dave here at Judson in 1993. She is missed.
Oh, and here's one more that somebody asked me. How about the wisdom and encouragement of the iron hand and the velvet glove behind this service? Carolyn Colvitz.
My mother taught me to be frugal. My father taught me to be generous. Somehow they all made it work. Thank you for your generosity as we call for the offertory hymn, A Song from My Father.
And my idea was either if you like the music, we'll stop playing if there's not enough dollar bills going in the baskets, or if you don't like it, we'll keep playing until there's enough in there. So, either way.
Thank you. It's a morning of contrasts. Now we move to the doxology. Okay, we have two announcements, Leslie, and then Jim.
Okay. So I attended the showing of the documentary Doctrine at the Riverview last Wednesday. You may remember Travis mentioned that in his email. The film was amazing. Ask me about it and I'll be happy to share more. But at the end of the Q&A of a literally full house at the Riverview, the audience was asked to take an action. And I wanted to share that with all of you today, and I hope maybe you'll join me in this. So here's the skinny. One OK Magellan of Tulsa, Oklahoma, has proposed to reopen its petroleum pipeline that was shut down in 2022. This pipeline, if allowed to reopen, will run through and under the Pipestone National Monument. And if you're not familiar with that monument, it is in the southwest corner of Minnesota, and it has been a sacred site for tribal nations for literally thousands of years. Tribal people come there to pray, to mourn and remember their dead, and to quarry the red pipestone that is used to carve the sacred peace pipe. These pipes are used for ceremony and healing by tribal people from all over. The Minnesota Public Utilities Commission rescinded Magellan's construction permit in January of 2025 and ordered them to collaborate with the Minnesota Indian Affairs Council to choose a culturally informed contractor for the required cultural survey. Magellan violated that order, chose its own contractor without tribal input, and now the commission will vote again on whether to allow Magellan to go ahead with its pipeline. This is sacred land. That alone should be enough to say no. But Pipestone is also the site of the Pipestone Indian Training School that operated from the 1800s to the 1950s, a boarding school for Native children. We know for a fact that Native children died there, and there are concerns that their remains are in that landscape. So the commission is open to public comment through the end of the month, so June 30th. If you would like to send a letter in support of our Native siblings to protect their sacred space and say no to this pipeline, see me at the back of the church. I have a QR code. You can get lots more information, some of which I've already told you, but more, and a sample wording to send your comments to the commission if you need some guidance in that way. Thanks.
There's a poster being handed out at the back of the church for a concert next Saturday, the 27th. It's sponsored by our Judson Church and the Musicians Union. The Music Performance Trust Fund is providing half of the resources for this concert, and it's led by our constant visitor, Dale Alexander. The Musicians Union is sponsoring the other half, and we hope we can fill the congregation. I've been at the Jazz Society, the Jazz Festival all weekend, and the Community Rondo Festival yesterday, handing out thousands of these flyers. So please support us and come for a 7 o'clock concert featuring all African American musicians who are in the union, musicians union. So see you next Saturday here. Thank you.
Final blessing. Thank you for being here today. And Isaiah 55:12. May you go out with joy and be led forth with peace. May the mountains and the hills break forth before you into singing, and all the trees of the field shall clap their hands. Amen.
We're going to send you out with some traveling music. Feel free to stir and leave while we're playing. We won't take any offense. This is F Blues, Straight No Chaser by Thelonious Monk. And let me just do a very quick appreciation. A few weeks ago, Eli, back from college, joined us at church, and Carolyn said, if anybody wants to help plan the Father's Day service, we're open to collaboration. And he did the art for the front as well. Thanks for reminding me of that front. And so I was very surprised to learn that Eli signed up to help plan it. And then Thea and Eli came, and when they came home, I was very surprised to hear Eli said, well, Dad, you and I are going to play Song for My Father, one of my favorite jazz songs we played earlier. And he's like, I'm also going to play music with Bruce. And I was just like, what a beautiful gift. So thanks, Eli.